Hello, friends and family. Day one, I forgot again. 164 or 5 of my rebellious reality. I skipped yesterday. I had the most magical day yesterday until about 5 p.m. and then all hell broke loose. And she just was crying for hours and hours. Pretty sure it was with gas, and it was one of the roughest nights. Like, my nervous system, I've been having a really difficult time calming it since she came into the world, my little baby dino who just finished feeding, so now we're snuggling. And when I had just done a breathwork session before the crying happened again, because it happened in different increments, and I was just like beside myself, like all like, oh my god. So it was just really rough. So I skipped because she was crying until probably about 11, and then we had dinner around like midnight. So anyway, I titled this video Cervical Polyp because today I had, oh no, baby. Because today I had my postpartum midwife visit, my second one, my last one, and I got to have an internal exam, and I was found to no longer have a cervical polyp that I had been diagnosed with. So in 2019, I went to get a pap smear and to get my IUD removed. I had the Mirena IUD, and I had been having spotting, and I just wanted to like get hormones out of my system. And so I had it removed. He found this polyp. He wanted to do surgery. He was inside of me when he was like, "Have you eaten breakfast?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is an emergent situation. I'd like to do surgery on you." And I was thinking to myself, like, I got so turned off by this dude that I have never seen him again. And so he was like basically pushing me to get surgery. I had just started learning about more holistic stuff and kind of implementing that in my life at this time. And that's why I wanted to get the IUD out. And he was so adamant that I really need to get it out. It's an emergent situation. He's only on call sometimes, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could bleed out, like all this stuff. And so I'm sitting there like, and he even asked me, he's like, "You're not having pain and cramping?" And I'm like, "No." Like, what I had done was learn how to manage my periods naturally. I had had horrifying periods the majority of my entire life. And my hormones were so fucked up that I would have like one good week, and the other 3 weeks of the month I'd be a freaking psychopath. I'd be like, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I would lash out at people and like say these things from such a triggered place where I'm like, okay, like, this isn't even me. Like, I don't want to be like this. Like, who just said that, you know? I was like a martyr. So for like these hormones. So I had finally I figured out how to balance my hormones, because the medical system doesn't take ownership of that at all. Women are just meant to be in menstrual pain, according to them. It's totally normal, which is such bullshit. And so I had to like to really take in charge of my own health, and I'm having the best periods of my life and no cramps. And he's like, "You don't have cramps," like telling me this is an emergent situation, that I have to get the polyp removed. And then he wasn't even sure if it was a polyp. He thought it might be a fibroid. So he biopsied it. The biopsy came back negative, and my gut was like, "Do not get this removed at all." And so I didn't get it removed. I tried a bunch of different things, including vaginal steaming, which I should probably do a video on one day. I tried that. I tried, I don't even remember what else I tried. And I just kept like eating, like doing liver cleansing. And I learned that polyps can come from an imbalance in hormones. So basically, I was just like, you know, I never had a spotting from it. Um, and I was just like, I'm not, unless it poses a problem, I'm not doing it. And there's this herb, I think it's like shepherd's purse or something like that. This is not a medical recommendation, by the way. I'm my own guinea pig. We all get to be our own guinea pig. That stops bleeding. So I was totally like, you know what? If this shit starts bleeding randomly, like I'm just gonna drink that. I don't give a fuck, you know? I'm gonna do everything I can to avoid going to the ED because I just didn't. What I have learned about anesthesia, I will do everything I can to avoid it. And obviously, I'm sure that I'm probably going to have surgical procedures in my lifetime, but I'm 39 and I haven't had to have one yet. I had plastic surgery here to get these moles removed, but other than that was like a local injections. I will do everything in my power to avoid taking anesthesia. And I just know that it stays in your body for a very long time, if not forever. And I have heard a lot of stuff about how, because your subconscious never stops. Your subconscious is awake the whole time that you're under anesthesia. And I've heard these wild stories, and the body remembers everything. So I've just heard these wild stories about people who have been on anesthesia and experiences that they've had later on when they've gone into their subconscious mind slash body, their body, which is one and the same. And I'm just like, you know what? I didn't feel the need to have this polyp removed. So, needless to say, this was it was Halloween of 2019. I remember that. Then we have the pandemic. So I didn't get a pap smear for 2020. And then for the end of 2021, I'm finally like, okay, I should go and just get a pap smear. And so I got a referral from the VA to go to a doctor and do that. And then a month before my appointment, I found out that I was pregnant. So I reached out and ended up seeing my first provider who did an internal exam. I don't know if she did a pap smear or not. She did an internal exam when I found out I was pregnant. She was the first one who saw me. And she just kept saying, wow, you have a very large polyp. It is quite large. And I was like, okay, you know. So then I started to wonder if it was going to get in the way of a vaginal birth and that if it made me high risk. And I Googled all over the place. I talked to my midwives, and there was nothing about the polyp being like making me high risk. If they had tried to remove it, which it wasn't causing me any issues, you know, but if they had tried to remove it, it could have resulted in like the birth happening before it was supposed to. And so then I realized, so then one of my midwives said, anytime there's something on the cervix, as soon as the head hits the cervix, she even said that people who have HPV, which I used to have, but I haven't tested positive for it, and like I haven't had irregular cells for many years. But she said even people who have HPV can get like if they have irregular cells in their cervix and the baby's head hits the cervix and goes through, she said it'll just get rid of those cells too. She said the baby's head like pops everything off the cervix. So I was like, oh my gosh, like my baby's gonna get rid of this polyp, you know? And I was joking how like, if this is my girl, she's gonna like come out like holding my polyp, which she totally didn't do. And so anyway, I was really excited to find out whether or not this baby, what are you doing? How are you? Okay, I thought I heard her spit up. So yeah, so I found out today that I officially do not have a polyp. The baby's head knocked it right out of my cervix, and I had no idea. And I feel super validated that I listened to my body all the way back then when I was first beginning on this more natural path, and just like be like starting to listen to my intuition. I was so fucking triggered from that doctor's visit. That guy triggered me so much. I couldn't even go back to him for I was planning on going back to him when I didn't even like him, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off because I was like, I need to be able to stand in my power when I go back. And he was just so adamant about me having to have this emergency surgery. And then finally I realized, like, Carly, if you don't feel comfortable with a provider, like, you don't have to go back. And so I finally got to stand in my power and request another provider. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that story today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.